Alright. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. One more time from the top. And I'll start off by saying, fuck you, Streamlabs. Because goddamn that. Of all the things to just.
Fuck up.
Yeah, of all the things to mess with, it's the default setting of the desktop audio or desktop audio source. Because you think it's like, okay, by having the source just be your desktop, it's like anything that you can hear while you're on your desktop, anything at all can be heard, but for some reason on default, it just excludes Discord. For some god awful reason, it just arbitrarily excludes that.
Yeah.
Unless you your default desktop to source through your speakers or your headphones, so that anything you hear on your headphones can be sourced. It's such a weirdly specific thing, and it's never asked for that before. Hell, I've never had to deal with a default setting that just basically arbitrarily cuts out Discord before. And at this rate, I'm afraid to use Streamlabs at this point because it's like, for all I know, something else will just stop working and have some weird arbitrary setting that I have to search through the myriad of other settings in order to turn on. Whether it's through an update or through a restart or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's already in hot water with a lot of people because of that one controversy where apparently they stole code from OBS.
Oh, joy.
So it's like, so yeah, right now so I've overlooked a lot, and right now it's starting to piss me off. But
We'll do what we can, but this is yeah. Okay, that's fucked.
but yeah, just in case, I'll be looking into alternative streaming software. But yeah, right now that all that's out of the way, all the fun holiday gaming is now out of the way. Let's get back into some serious topics, especially the one that happened at the end of last year.
I survived Lindsey Ellis.
Yes, you survived Lindsey Ellis of all people, of all things. Let me
I
get her up on screen here.
of all, I'm
Okay.
gonna probably joke around about this for a bit here, but Jesus Christ, I can't believe this year started out with that and ended with that.
I know, right? It was almost ominous. It's like, but yeah, for those of you who don't know, my buddy Dave here, he went through a lot of bullshit from Lindsay Ellis stands because, well, after she made her infamous tweet, he chimed in and said, well, technically she's done worse than that in the previous points, and
Well, my whole point was to make. Well, yeah, we should probably not cancel her because she didn't like. Look, I don't think it was the biggest deal ever. People make
that
mistakes.
was the big irony of it all. It's like you were speaking in her defense.
Yeah, like look, here's the thing. It's not like I was shaming people for making tasteless jokes and posting them on the internet. Everyone does that. I'm Jewish. My dad taught me my first Holocaust joke, and I'm Jewish. You know? Like, you have to understand, like tasteless jokes, like a lot of people do them. It happens. You gotta learn. You gotta move on. You gotta grow up. And sometimes, yeah, yeah, you just have to. So to me, it was like this. She posted a tasteless video. She made a tweet that I honestly didn't think was that bad. She compared Rhea to Avatar: Last Airbender, and you wanna know what? She wasn't the first one I saw do that at all.
Exactly.
Like, I remember seeing from a couple other people. Hers is the one that just got the target on it. And I don't know what to tell you. Like, Um, I really feel like it was not a big deal. She just made it a big deal. It built up in her head, probably. And then she went on that. She put up my tweet in the video. And here's my problem with the tweet she put with what she did in my tweet's case. She didn't block out my handle like she did for other tweets in that fucking video. Like, I mean, like, it just ticked me off, you know? So, and plus then she said anybody who brings up the rape rap or, like, talks about the rape rap or knows about the rape rap are diet Nazis, or at least implied it, when it's like, they've been using that to take me down for years, and I'm like, it's on your TV tropes page. Like, seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I have the whole like tweet right here.
Thank you. Thank you. I will never live this down. I'm in a fucking video with 1 million views, and that is,
Yeah, you're it.
yeah, if you guys want to see me, I'm like halfway through the entire video, but, um, we're about there. When she talks about the rape rap and stuff, you can find my tweet very easily. I'm the first one there. So, again, not a. Anyway, my whole point was I wanted to say fuck you for doing that, because to me it's like, look, I only got 85 likes on that fucking tweet. I literally forgot about it. You know, it was not a big deal to me, honestly. But it was a big deal to her, apparently. And I ended up in the crossfire. You get caught up in the crossfire, apparently.
It's just like
And,
you get caught up enough.
and
But
so I just made my whole thing of like, I just said fuck you. The Lindsey Ellis stands attacked for 4 days, and it was like, yeah, I'm ticked off that she put me in the video, and then said I was a diet Nazi and I'm Jewish. Like, I'm like, fuck it. Personally, I don't like using Nazi as purely an insult. Like, grammar Nazi, I'm okay with a little bit. Okay? You know, that one. Call. I'm not a grammar Nazi, but you know, okay. But a diet Nazi that just is like, oh, you're only a little worse than a Nazi. You're only a little bit not as bad. Like, that just, I hate that. Like, I was insulted. So I was like, fuck you. Don't just say that shit, you know? And then, like, her fandom attacked me for a couple days, and it was fun. And by fun, I mean, oh god. They were fucking simps for her. It was annoying, and I honestly have hard time with her as a creator for a couple reasons. As one, a lot of people say that she is like this, like she innovated video essays and stuff, and kind of hard to see, honestly. I always found her to be more of a high class nostalgia critic at times,
I'm
and
pretty
that is.
sure she wasn't the only one doing video essays, though.
No, she was not. I would honestly say that there's maybe more influential people in that case. I would say that she probably pioneered like more female centric ones that are especially about like who go into Broadway. Like there's a couple Lindsey Ellis imitators on YouTube. I will say that. I know one I was watching. Was one named Maggie Mayfish. She actually is the one I'm thinking of. Particularly, very much Lindsey Ellis inspired. Um, which isn't bad. Like we all have our inspirations. I mean, look, I'm as I said, I'm like I'm fucking Jewish, right? So, but yeah. Uh, so I'll say this, like, like I did not expect this whole thing to happen with her. Admittedly, I thought it would just go away because honestly, I wasn't even thinking about her, and I decided never to watch a video with her ever again. Um, After that whole thing, I'll say this: like, I recanted that after this whole thing, but to give you an idea, and I'll find it. Lindsay ended up quitting everything. Just quitting. Um, and it's yeah, it's kind of shocking, honestly. I didn't expect it. Um, I don't think anyone did. Um, yeah, no, like nobody. Like I gotta say, like nobody really saw it coming in any way. Um, and yeah, like give me a sec, man. I'm trying to find her leaving letter because I really want to find it.
Yeah,
Give
I've
me a sec.
heard about that one. But yeah, it's she. I think she was one of the survivors of the channel awesome change the channel fallout. Well, also one of the perpetu- uh, one of the perpetrators of the whole change the channel movement.
Well, she definitely was heavily involved, and looking back, it honestly, you want to know what the saddest thing about the change the channel movement is?
Yeah,
Doug's rep has improved compared to a lot of the people who were involved in that. Like, um, I was talking to other people, and honestly, Doug has changed for the better in comparison to a lot of his peers. And I mean it. Like, if you compare Doug's career path to Lindsay's or anyone else, yeah, no, he learned from a lot of this shit, and at worst, Doug was oblivious to a lot of stuff, and that blows. But dear lord, like, yeah, there's a lot of things with Channel Awesome that are bad, but to tell you the truth, um, kind of like this, it it's not as bad as it could be, and most of the people who were the bad people in Channel Awesome are people who are not on camera. So it's like, well, fuck. It still blows, but at this point, Doug has kind of shown that he is the most mature one out of them, and oh dear lord, that guy has just continued to rise up. It's like he's been moving on, and it's it's shocking to see. And while she was involved in change the channel stuff, she wasn't really the worst victim of shit either. I'm gonna say that. Like, there was some stuff there, but not. But Lindsay was treated better than a lot of other because she was the nostalgia chick. So you know, but still, like, I'm not saying everything was roses, but it is what it is. But anyway, I actually found her original post. So, mhm.
oh, give me a sec
So
here.
blah blah blah. I'll link it to you. Somebody posted the entire thing on Reddit, thankfully, so I was able to find it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
So that's the good spy speech and stuff. If you want to bring it up,
All right.
yeah,
Where'd
no,
you put
it's
it?
um, in scheduling.
Oh, all
Hold
right.
it.
I'll take a look here.
I tried to,
Da, 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 da.
yeah,
So yeah, let's take a look at this for a sec. Yeah, put it on screen for everyone.
It's a long post.
Uh, yeah. Whoa, it is a long post.
I told you.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have already read through a lot of this. Walking away. Yeah, this was walking away from Amelis. This was going to be a YouTube video. Well, that explains why it's so long. This was a
Yeah.
script, but I just don't have it in me to invite that kind of scrutiny. Okay, Spoony much?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Honestly.
I'm reminded of Spoony when he stopped doing videos. I wish he'd come back at least. To be the last of to be the last in the sick, sad line of YouTubers who get all weepy on camera and cry about how they just can't do this anymore. Boo hoo hoo. I had planned to move video content to Nebula. What is Nebula?
Okay, Nebula is like this. Okay, how do I describe it? Imagine if somebody made a Netflix for bread tubers.
Okay, enough said.
I kind of joke, but it's literally paying a bunch of content creators to make exclusive content and pay a subscription for it. I considered it just to check out some of the videos on there because I'm curious on like what like. Here's the thing. Um, in this day and age, I don't really believe in subscription content. You either have good enough content where you get paid for it, or not. Like,
What's the over and
um,
over or under that they have the Channel Awesome specials on there?
I'm gonna go under there. I don't think they would be on there. Like Doug has, you can find them on YouTube for free if you look.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I know a couple people have been trying to go use that platform because it does pay, and that's fair. It's just that who the fuck cares? Um, like it's another streaming service thing. It's right now we're just so like the video has to be really, really fucking good to make me go, man, I have to see that. I have to pay for that. You know?
Yeah.
You know? You
Alright.
know?
Yeah, but I
Like,
realize now that doing that is just keeping wounds wide open. My life ended 9 months ago. Was that when she did the tweet? Well, possibly
um,
from here? Or
possibly. I
yeah.
think so.
What has been taking up bandwidth ever since has been a ghost. It's almost funny how many people will insist that I have lost nothing. You know, because subscriber count is the only metric of success and cancel culture doesn't exist. Well, according to these people, they call it consequence culture. So, villain by any other name. One YouTube channel chugging along on an algorithmic inertia is not success. It's just an engine driving on fumes. Many will say that this is being melodramatic, that my live isn't open. I think she meant live, not live. Unless she means live streaming. That
Yeah.
there was absolutely nothing stopping me from brushing myself off, building back up goodwill, and shutting up and playing the game. And I tried that. In a way, I suppose it's good that I did because I needed to learn the hard way that this was never going to work. There is no unfucking this, and can't find the energy if there is nothing left to convert it. You can't be a better person if you are nothing but a hollow shell of one. Well, damn. Forget melodramatic. This is this
Yeah.
is Shakespearean levels of dramatics.
Yes.
This is Greek tragedy levels.
Honestly, I have a couple theories on what's going on with her, and these are just general theories on like what's been going on. She released a she has two novels out, right?
Yeah, I heard of those.
Yeah. Apparently, the second one bombed hard.
Uh, oh, really?
Yeah, like apparently her novels haven't been doing well, and so publishers are not taking pitches from her because you know it's not like she's Stephen King where it's like, Stephen King had one bad novel. Well, Stephen King has 30 other good novels. You know, he'll be fine. No, like her first two novels bombed hard apparently, and they did have some critical praise, I think, but I haven't read them. It's just kind of like I heard that. Another personal theory I have is that possible alcoholism problems.
Well, she was
And
caught drunk driving that one time.
public intoxication, yes. Well, we have a mugshot of her.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so, and honestly, I looked at her recent videos, and you could still see her fucking drinking in those. So, needs to go to an AA meeting? Probably.
Hmm.
I hate saying that because, um, I don't want to sound like, we all have our problems, but Jesus Christ.
You're not going to be able to solve all your problems with drinking. You're going to have to do something about it at some point.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a theory of mine. I don't know her personal life at all too much, but there are signs, you
I
know.
mean, my own theory is just that she she ended up cultivating a crowd, and now that crowd's turned against her and she has no idea what to do about it. It's something that just never crossed her mind.
Well, look, with me,
Not to
I never.
mention, I think the whole tweet that caused the controversy wasn't the only thing. I think that was just the excuse. I think there were people who wanted to cancel her for a while and were just looking for the right time to do so. Because that's
There
usually how
were
these things work.
there was a couple things. There was definitely part of her audience were resentful for a couple reasons. Because, uh, you might not remember this, but she did a Twilight defense video. Okay, and the Twilight defense video basically relied on this. Okay, okay. Um, that oh no, everybody hated Twilight because it was for teenage girls. So, because everyone hates teenage girls, we hated Twilight. Look, I get where she was kind of coming from. Like we can be mean to a lot of media. I mean, I've been mean to a lot of media myself. I'm just gonna be fair here, but like there are problems with those books. Like, look, I have the skin of a killer is never not gonna be funny. Okay,
Yeah.
that is just fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. Like, that is like, yeah, it's for teenage girls, but I mean, that takes itself so seriously. It's kind of just hilarious. I mean, I have the skin of a killer, Bella. Like, but
Yeah, like Leatherface levels.
what people brought up is that she didn't actually criticize Stephanie Meyer for how she portrayed natives, which is very weird in a lot of ways. Um, You see, Stephanie Meyer is also a Mormon, and some of those beliefs did actually bleed into the text.
Yeah.
And they have, and look, Mormons, I've met plenty of pleasant Mormons here. I'm not gonna be like, fucking Mormons and shit. But they do have some weird beliefs around Native Americans. I am just saying. Okay? Um, anyway, that, uh,
But but yeah, moving on. 2021 has been the worst year of my life. I am traumatized by it. To this day, I still have people scolding me about how I handled it and how I should have handled it differently, that I should have controlled my stands. Actually, I kind of wish he did.
I have no, I have no commentary on this whatsoever, right, guys? Right?
As if I had the capability to know what any of these people were even saying to strangers on Twitter while I was shitting blood for weeks on end. Wait, okay, I'm not gonna even ask. The worst thing about this whole thing is that I can't even admit this trauma because of all the rhetorical devices people have already come up with to dismiss it. Welcome to the internet. That centering on my own pain is evidence of not listening. Does occur does it occur to these people that you can listen and disagree with other people's conclusions? You know, again, welcome to the internet. That I'm weaponizing my own fragile womanhood or whatever to say that having thousands upon thousands of people who you have never met hate you and say whatever will get them the most updoots and trauma. What's an updoot? Any idea what you think she might meant to put there? Because I think that's a typo.
um, let me check here.
Maybe upvotes to get them the most upvotes is traumatizing. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I get that she is emotionally compromised and she might not be doing the best grammar here, but I'm trying to interpret it as best as I can. That people I used to know would sit there and lie about me on Twitter.com to tune of thousands of retweets and tens of thousands of likes, and I just had to sit there and take it. My favorite are people who dismiss any potential harm I might have incurred as justified because I am wealthy white woman. I am not wealthy, while these same people hearts positively bleed for Britney Spears. It's, not exactly the kind of comparison you want to make, considering that Britney Spears has a what conservatory issue going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, being lied about by like thousands of people on the internet, I've seen that happen to a couple of YouTubers.
Yep. Um, it happens to a lot of YouTubers, dude, so it's not unusual in itself.
Yeah, and usually, I mean, there's always this saying is like the lie will make its way like halfway around the world before the truth can get its boots on. Yeah, these people don't see how similar these talking points are to the same boomer bootstrap parenting style that I thought most of us had agreed was abusive. Oh my god, she's bringing up the pull up by the bootstraps argument. That you need to toughen up and accept your punishment, accept that even if the reaction was outsized and that you did something wrong, because where there's smoke, there's fire. Another bullshit argument. Grow a thicker skin. These same people who always crow about believing victims, telling victims of public dog piles that they do not deserve to claim their trauma, let alone process it, because they deserved it. There is no such thing as cancel culture. There is no incentive reward structure in place like Twitter to call people out. There are no up dudes. Okay, there's. I guess up dudes needs really does mean something in whatever social media. Fabs, follows, retweets for hotting a take on whomever is trending. You know what the reward is for dogpiling on people? The sheer satisfaction that you took down something big. It's like slaying a mammoth.
Yeah, okay, I looked up dude. It is slang for upvote.
Off.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, man.
I guess that makes us both boomers. It's like we are out of touch with these kids nowadays, and what? Mainly because they
Look,
keep making up words as they go along.
look, man. Who the fuck cares? There's always gonna be like thousands of words you don't know. It's fine.
One of the most common tools of exclusion is through mobbing, which is rarely talked about because, unlike rape, murder, etc., it's not easy to pin it on a single person or scapegoat. Mobbing is emotional abuse practiced by a group of people, usually peers, over a period of time, though through methods such as gaslighting, rumor mongering, and ostracism. It's most documented in workplace academic environments. Key points of capitalist tension. Oh, but it is thoroughly institutionalized into feminist, queer, and radical spaces as well. Here's why it's it's like, yeah, blame capitalism first, then we'll get to the problem. It has an unusually strong power to damage the victim's relationships to society because it can't be rewritten off an outlier as some singular monster. It's revealed a fundamental truth about people that makes it difficult to trust ever again. People become like aliens, like a pack of animals that can turn on you as soon as some one sec. As soon as some mysterious pheromone shift marks you for death. 2. The insidious nature of emotional abuse. How do you fight ostracism and rumors? They leave no bruises, they just starve you. And 3. Mobbing typically occurs in places where the victim is trapped by some need or obligation work, school, circles of friends. This is a prolonged exposure of damaging extremes. Oh my god. This is why I've always been for decentralization because it's like you're most vulnerable to this kind of stuff when you're holed up in a large group that you can't get out of.
Yeah.
I mean, once you're able to sustain yourself on your own and just handle things on your own, just do your own thing, a lot of this stuff wouldn't matter. For these reasons, PTSD is almost inevitable outcome of any protracted mobbing case. The Isabel Fall case is almost textbook example about how online mobbing harms people and how the people who participate in these mobs never engage in any self-reflection. When some people read Fall's helicopter story and question the trans bona fides of the author in the early 2020, Twitter did what Twitter does and ruined Fall's life. Death by a million cuts. No one single person even beginning to question whether they did anything wrong by jumping to the worst possible faith interpretation of both text and the author. After a profile written by Emily Van Derwif was published in late 2021, Were lessons learned about the way we use the internet mobs to tear down people we don't know because of situations we don't understand? No. One of Fall's detractors, Nian Yang, became the new scapegoat du jour, using some of the exact same tactics used prior year to attack Fall. The, I mean, uh, all right, just
Yep.
thinking back on this paragraph. I mean, worse faith interpretations. You know what we call that? We call that a purity spiral.
Yeah, I know. My whole thing about it is this is that like here's the thing with what Ellis did here, and it kind of annoys me on some level. Do you know she tried to cancel somebody that very same day or close to it?
Actually, yeah, where was it?
Jill Barup.
Yeah, Jared Billup and Tom Scott.
Well, not Tom Scott. It was Jill specifically. So I actually did a bit of research into this one. You know,
Yeah,
and here is here is the whole thing. So Jill used to actually work with Lindsey. She was part of the Chez Apocalypse side of that got glasses and her production company.
yeah.
Basically, it was meant to be more fancy version of that guy with the glasses, if you will, and blah blah blah. So she had a strong focus on Harry Potter, YA fandom, and the like. Jill made comments a couple years ago that could come off anti-trans. Now she deleted most of these comments and hasn't really commented on them since. So does she have the beliefs? I don't know. If you don't like her because of it, I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong or anything. I I don't know her. Okay? But she deleted it. She clearly regrets it in the past, and she's just doing this video with Tom Scott that's about filming action scenes. Okay, fair enough, right? And then Lindsay's like, "Yo, now I'm gonna drag your past in front of everyone here." It's like, oh, Lindsay, don't, don't do that shit. Like, because this is kind of the problem. You try to be, um, you try to be, anti-cancel culture, but you know,
I'm
and you
reminded
do
of a
that.
saying. It has something to do with a nice, hard stone and
Yep.
maybe a house made of glass, but it just seemed to just, it's just off the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, moving on.
Yeah. So Lindsay's kind of being a bit of a hypocrite with this whole thing on some level, and I will admit she is. Because look, I understand you can't just say cancel. Oh, I'm getting harassed, and then try to harass people. Like, you know, you just can't do that at that point. And I get it. You have to be careful there with all this shit, and she's not.
I mean,
Um,
this is one of those monkey paw wish kind of moments where it's like you built up a culture that you feel so strongly about, and then it backfires.
uh,
I mean, it's like, I mean, this is why you don't want to build anything that's full on like dependent on just basically that's cannibalistic by its nature. I mean, just look at what look at what happened with the IBS community. I mean, you build something up that's reliant on attacking others. Eventually, it's gonna turn against itself, and it's gonna turn against you as well.
yeah. Like right now, it just has been like one big circle jerk of pain. And yeah, no, like I can understand this whole thing spiraling out of control. But honestly, Lindsay also handled this really badly because here's another factor. We'll get to it near the end of the reading.
All right, moving on.
Yeah. Tell me when we get to the trans stuff in there because
Oh
there's
dear. There's trans stuff.
kind of Lindsay's not trans herself, but you'll see.
I'm not going to touch on Yang's original comments about fall or the pushback to them, but what was downright charming in its lack of self awareness about the whole situation was the way people used fall's trauma to hurt Yang, the way they invoke fall being checked into the hospital while Yang said whatever about fall and the helicopter story, all the while having absolutely no idea what was going on in Yang's private life. What's particularly galling is how many people accuse Yang of sending a trans person to the hospital with PTSD while apparently being completely oblivious to the fact that they could very well be very well doing the same thing to Yang, a non binary trans person. There was no lesson learned on the nature of mindless dogpiling, just Twitter doing what Twitter does, failing to examine systems of abuse while continuing to perpetuate them by laying into a new scapegoat. That is kind of what Twitter does when it goes into a Twitter mob mode. The only time the mob lets up is when they find a new target. It's like a zombie horde. But yeah, moving on. Again, a quote from Hot Allostatic Load. Wait, who names himself that? Hot Allostatic Load?
Yeah.
Gross. Feminist queer spaces are more willing to criticize people than abusive systems because they want to reserve the right to use those systems for their own purposes. Well, what do you know? At least attacking people can be politically viable, especially in a token system where you benefit directly by their absence, or where your status as a good feminist is dependent on constantly rooting out evil. It's almost as if the system itself is cannibalistic.
All right.
Again, purity spiraling. I mean, purity spiraling happens oftentimes just out of rivalries. When the bounty system calls for the ears of evil people, well, most people have fucking ears. Something else that was also inevitable, I was going to quit YouTube. I knew I couldn't do it forever, that I was running out of steam, and that I was sick of increasing dehumanization inherent, that I didn't have anything to say about movies anymore. The plan was always to end with Love Never Dies, since it seemed like the best place to end, with some semblance of energy rather than keeping on until I've withered away to nothing. What happened to me in March and April hastened it, but this was always inevitable. My initial plan was to leave YouTube for Nebula, but I realize now that this is only entrenching myself in a more intimate form of harm rather than the broad, buckshot kind that YouTube invites. I won't go to detail, not right now, anyways, but I can't do a video content for them either. I can't make content, period. I just can't do this anymore. There's no healing as long as there is attachment to the thing that makes you suffer. And the thing in this case is being in the public eye at all. What I wanted was to quietly disappear, but since this is a platform where people are paying me to make content, I feel like I have to make a statement. If it were just me by myself, I would just sign off and say goodbye, and that would be it. But I have a team who depends on my company for health insurance, and including dependents, I supply full benefits for 8 people. And here in the U.S., employer based insurance is often the only feasible option. What, you guys can't get ACA?
No, apparently not.
Saying to everyone, sorry about your children, but they can't have insurance anymore because Twitter makes me sad, just doesn't seem like a fair deal. None of them incidentally know I'm posting this. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know you're posting this because it's on your Patreon.
Honestly, my big problem is that she didn't even tell like her staff people this. Like she has 6 people to fucking work with. The hell? Like I'm sure many of them are now only finding out about it, and I would be like,
Dave, if you ever quit YouTube or Twitter, just let me know.
dude, I would probably if I felt like burned out by it, I would tell people long while off. I look. Here's the thing: if you leave something, try and leave on good handling of it, or at the very least say, "Look, I'm trying. Right now, I'm not really trying to leave stuff, but life is life. You gotta just do what you can."
Yeah.
But still, like you shouldn't leave like when there's money on the table like this. I don't want to screw over employers like that. Like if people were working under me, yeah, at that point you can't really do anything about it. Like
I,
here's the thing, you wanna know? I looked. She made 5 other video. She made 5 videos this year, and I'm like, look, I understand it's hard to do shit, but you have people work for you. Like, leave on better circumstances. Try to help them get jobs. Like, don't do this shit.
yeah, give them a 2 weeks notice, something, severance pay. Not to mention, it's like these people, they probably have experience doing stuff for you. It's like they get they could get jobs if they have time. Just give them a heads up. So the only thing I could do now is keep this page active with those promises that someday I'll figure out something in the future to make up for this, while asking you to please stop messaging me apologizing for not being able to subscribe anymore. You don't owe me anything. This Patreon is like my own life and career, just running on fumes. Continue.
The comments below after.
Wait a minute. Uh, wait a minute. Where is it?
Um, it should be. It should be. It should be next. It should be Irish Day. It should be Irish Day Oak. The next one.
Oh,
Continue.
Irish.
But,
Oh, all right.
but all I know is that being in the public eye. That's what
Yeah,
I'm.
all right. I'll read it. But all I know is that being in the public eye is at all is a losing game, and I regret all of it. I regret every time I ever stood up for anyone. It always backfires. Yeah, I think that's in reference to the thing you talked about earlier. I regret every time I push back against something unjust. It was always just used to hurt me. I regret every time I ever stood up for myself. I never did it correctly. I regret every time I showed any vulnerability. Just more ammunition to be used against me later. I regret every time I ever tried to play the game. With peers and colleagues, they will drop you the second you are unpopular on Twitter anymore. It's all hollow, brittle, and if there's is one thing I have learned this year, it is how eminently expendable I am. The good, progressive, cis, straight, wealthy white men keep trucking and coming out on top because deep down they know that the systems they profess to stand against ultimately exist to benefit. Oh my fucking god. This is depressing. And here's why it's depressing. It's not. I mean, I don't just find this depressing because, well, this is of how badly this has screwed her over. I find this depressing because she gets so close to getting it, and yet her mind just works around it and just misses the point completely. Misses the real cause of the problem right there. And just blames the usual suspects, as they would call them.
Yeah,
I mean, good God, you were so close!
yeah.
And to all the people telling me I need to grow a thicker skin and remove myself from the conversation, no, you need to stop cultivating such a toxic fan base that easily turns against you on a drop of a hat as they turn against anyone. You are right. I don't have it in me to do the former, so I shall do the latter. Hope your new year is better than this. Oh, for fuck's sakes. It's it's like it's like reading a, the whole goodbye letter from a person who is so brainwashed from a system that completely destroyed them that they don't even know the system destroyed them.
Yeah.
It's like someone being marched off to a death camp from from an organization that they supported and agreed with, and they don't even have the capacity to feel betrayed.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's really cute to end with "Love Never Dies." Yeah, it would be cute if she ended with that instead of, all of this.
Yeah, it's kind of like I said, it is insane.
I mean, in a sense, and I have no ill will against her. I actually really hope she gets the help she needs.
Yeah, look, I just don't want to look. The only thing I can say is I just don't want to be like, like I hope whatever happens to her, she moves on and becomes a better person or anything else. I really don't want to like look whatever. Let it be said. I didn't want her to be like, oh, I want to go away from YouTube forever. Like I never want that shit. My
Yeah,
whole thing. Yeah.
yeah. To anyone who watches this, just keep in mind, me and Dave, we're not really vindictive people here. We have the capacity for empathy. I mean, as bad as she has been over the years, especially with what happened with Dave, I mean, we we still see how bad things are for her, and we actually want, and we hope she gets help.
Yeah, like I personally don't want to. Personally, I don't want to like. Look, to me, it was never about like winning over her or anything else. Hell, I never wanted her to like
Yeah, you're
like
coming in quiet.
oh uh that better.
Yeah, better.
Sorry, man. Um, I never wanted her to like uh go away. I just wanted like I just personally I was fine. You know, I recovered. It could have been okay, but apparently it wasn't. And I honestly think this is not really. I honestly think the cancellation might also be an excuse. Sadly, I think she's going through a lot of other problems that she's also just not talking about publicly, and that's also fine too. Personally, I my whole thing is I rather not turn things into heavy drama llamas all the fucking time, but it is what it is, you know? Yep. So, Yeah, but that's Lindsey Ellis in a nutshell right now. Like that's all she wrote. And man, what a way to end last year.
Yeah, it's just that and the whole Jack Murphy drama has been the capstone of last year.
Yeah.
It.
But
I'm not going into that guy, by the way. Don't ask. There's plenty of other people who will talk about it, but it's like, I think I'll leave that one alone.
that's probably fair actually. For now, let us I think we'll leave on that and we'll
Yeah, we'll
try and
close
have
the
a
book
good
on this for now.
yeah. I think we'll try and have a good weekend. Well, let's see what we can do this year and see what topics we can reach for the
Yeah.
mid